Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So I've been out of town for the past week and I've been really busy lately and will continue to be busy over the next week or so. So I haven't been posting much, but one thing that has happened over the past week that I did want to touch base on and I did want to talk about. And of course, you have some people that are like, I wonder why he's not making content. And it's like, no, I want to talk about this. It's important. And we're going to do so in today's video. And that is Donald Trump and the Epstein file release. Because Donald Trump and his Department of Justice have kind of made it a big priority, or were making it a big priority for Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino over at the FBI to go out there and release these Epstein files, if they even really fully exist, the client list, whatever, because there's been investigation, there's been some sort of, I guess you would say, compilation of information that was kind of, I guess, under wraps that now is not really being released. And now you have Pam Bondi and all these other people coming out and saying that there's really no evidence or they can't really release anything. And then Donald Trump himself is stepping in because he was being asked about it a lot. And you have people that are fed up with him over this whole thing. And he's going out there and he is basically calling this some sort of hoax, comparing it to the Russia hoax that we saw in his first term. And talking about how it's like, oh no, it's like one of these laptop from hell things where they're coming out and saying, oh, it's not real, and then it turns out to be real. I guess it'd be like the inverse of that. And he's blaming the Democrats for it, which is a little bit strange. And I did want to touch base on this because it's something that I want to view objectively and cover objectively here, because you have a lot of people that are saying that they're done with MAGA. Is there some sort of civil war? I'm sure there's going to be people on both sides who don't like some of what I have to say. And when I mean both sides of this debate about this whole thing. And we're going to dive into it. But first, I have to tell you guys about our good friends over at Allegiance Gold. While the media is obsessing about Trump's tariffs, something big is brewing and nobody's talking about it except right here. Because starting this month, under new Basel III international banking rules, gold will officially be reclassified as a Tier 1 asset, placing it on the same level as cash and U.S. Treasuries. Translation, gold is money again. Just in the first quarter, thousands of tons of gold were quietly moved back to the U.S. from Europe. Meanwhile, central banks around the globe are stockpiling gold at record levels. That's not a coincidence. That's a signal. So if the world's most powerful financial institutions are hoarding gold, why aren't you? Don't wait. Call Allegiance Gold, the trusted experts that I've partnered with that have the highest ratings and accolades. They will help you secure real physical gold and silver delivered straight to your home or placed securely inside your IRA or 401k. Go to allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191 and mention Red Eagle, and you could be eligible to receive up to $5,000 in free metals, but only if you act right now, because gold is freedom, gold is sovereignty, and starting this month, gold is officially money. So that's allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191 today. All right, so Donald Trump going out there and saying that the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore came from Russia when it came from Hunter Biden, the Russia scam itself. He's saying it's totally fake. He's coming out and saying that Democrats are sticking together like glue with this scam, and that you have a lot of people that supported Trump. He says, my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lessons and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And these people want to talk about this Epstein, what he calls the Epstein hoax. And then he says, let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. So There are things in this that I think are true, and there are things in this that I think are not the best look. Now, Donald Trump sometimes will purposely put out things that are not the best look to change the conversation if he has to, or in order to throw the media for some sort of tailspin, whatever. The main point here is I agree that you have a grifter class called the Panicans. Many of them will claim to be on the right. Many of them oppose Trump through most, if not all, of the 2024 election cycle. They come in many different forms, but they will always take the angle of opposing every little thing that Donald Trump does or Donald Trump supports. So when you look at something like this, you have this presidency that has gone relatively well. And all these same people said Trump is going to start a war with Iran, and he took out the nuclear facilities. He put them through a setback and then eventually got a ceasefire. There's no war. So he, was able to kind of flex his strength without actually getting us into one. I'm not saying it can't happen in the future. I understand both sides of that argument, but still you have the same people saying, and maybe it's a different segment, the tariffs are going to cause rampant inflation. You have tariffs in effect. Inflation is relatively stagnant overall. It's not like continuing to rise. The rates keep falling below the expectations. It's, you'll have maybe a little bit of it, but a lot of that is just going to be transitory if you have any that's tariff-based. And wages have rose, self-deportations have been up. People will say there's not enough deportations. I will even join them to a certain extent, but I think a lot of people that are just complaining, and were complaining the first week Trump was in office, they're operating in bad faith, and I'm not going to take people like that seriously 100% of the time. However, I will say that there's a lot of Trump supporters out there who want to see the Epstein files, and messaging-wise to say it's like a Democrat hoax when a lot of Trump's base believe that there's a lot of Democrats that are implicated in this as well, and they want justice. I honestly think that that's not the best messaging. I think it would make more sense not to talk about it. So Trump calling out the Panicans, Trump saying that, we're having an investigation, which he did say, and I think it's not fair that some people aren't covering that he was the one who wanted to look into them. He instructed them to look into them. He did not make it a big campaign promise. This is not an issue swing voters care about. And you can see Donald Trump's approval rating. You have three pretty awful polls that are known for having poor methodologies or pushing narratives that have him down by double digits. The other polls in the mix have him at like -2, -3, -1. I think that, he's probably relatively where he was. Maybe you have some soft disapproval, non-response bias if people feel demoralized about this sort of thing. Maybe that could play a role in the approval, but the approval's relatively stagnant. You have bad polls re-entering the cycle. He goes down a little bit. That's typically how it works. There are polls released after this whole debacle that show him going up, like Morning Compost. I think even Quinnipiac, I guess that's relatively stagnant, as you can see there, but you're not seeing this massive defection. So people that are saying it could impact the midterms, if it's still talked about, maybe you see depressed turnout. If it blows up even further, we could talk about that. But right now, it's not an issue the majority of Americans are going to sit here and care about. And whether they should or they shouldn't is not really the point. Trump didn't win because of the Epstein files. He was asked once in an interview if he would release them, and he said sure. And eventually he tried to get them to do it. And it's true that the messaging here is not really the best. I understand his frustration, but if you're saying if you care about this, and I guess it's a little bit of a straw man, but you do have this narrative going around that he doesn't want support from anyone who still cares. No, I think you can support Trump and care about transparency. And people will say this implicates Trump. Again, he was associates with Epstein in the 90s, which is true. I mean, they're two eccentric billionaires from New York City. I mean, they're going to hang out together. It's just the way that these things typically work. I don't know if there is a billionaire from New York City in the 90s that didn't hang out with Epstein or Donald Trump. But what is true is that it's very unlikely that he went to the island or did shady shenanigans. And if we knew about that, it would have been out by now. That's 100% true. Because again, you have the fact that yes, the messaging's not great. The files, again, why would you instruct them to look into it? Why are you talking about appointing a special prosecutor? If it directly implicates you, why would you want to dig the hole even further? Trump is not dumb. He knows that. But I still think the messaging here is not really, the best. I think he's trying to, get the base like back on board, find a way. I just don't think it's going to work that way. I get his frustration with bad faith actors. I don't think he's involved. I just think he's baiting all the wrong people, which again, maybe he's trying to. Maybe there's something down the line. People will say there's no 3D, 4D chess. I'm not saying that's what this is, but I'm saying it's not impossible because Trump does do that stuff. Again, like it is true that you have a lot of people that are just virtue signaling about it being a deal breaker when they don't really care about this and never truly backed him. And I understand why he's angry at them. However, I will say that there are a lot of people that do want answers, and the way it's been handled has been objectively poor. I mean, it is true. Like you have the people he's like, it was started by the Democrats. Like, I don't think that resonates with people. It is true that his Department of Justice made a blunder. I think that he's just kind of digging the hole when he does this. I don't think Trump's above criticism. I think he's getting too much criticism at times. You'll have people that will attack him in bad faith, but as somebody who has been a diehard supporter, I'm just not really in agreement with the messaging. Now, it's not just him. I mean, this tweet right here, this stuff has been bungled terribly. There's no doubt about it, awful messaging. But, you do have the people that are trying to use this to dunk on Trump when they don't even care. They hold grudges. They've always had them. And there is a difference between good faith and bad faith criticism. 100% true. And Pam Bondi and the DOJ messed this up. She wasn't clear when she said she had files on her desk, or it could be released any minute now. Like, you can't do that. She was put in a tough spot. I get that, because you have Matt Gaetz, who was nominated to be AG, and a lot of the people in the diehard base loved him. And then apparently he withdraws the nomination. I don't even know if Trump really ever planned for him to be AG. I don't think he would have ever really gotten confirmed, for better or worse. And as a result, Pam Bondi being the replacement was viewed as like the compromise pick, held to some sort of standard that you just couldn't really please people. So you're going to overpromise. And if you underdeliver at that point, you're going to make people even more angry at you. And that's probably not the best way that she could have gone about things, getting influencers to stand there with binders saying Epstein files, and they don't exist, according to them. And I believe that there's a chance that they don't exist. I believe there's a chance that, he possibly could have taken his own life, possibly to cover up for other people, or there's plenty of reasons for why it could have happened. There's other reasons that you could make the case that he did. We don't really know. The one thing I do believe about this thing is that, there's very likely some sort of deletion of the files. You think if the Biden administration had them, and the Biden DOJ had them, or even the first Trump DOJ under Bill Barr, who is no fan of Donald Trump and was not really a great attorney general, like these type of people, they had the oversight. They very likely could have done something about them because they did everything they could do to take out Trump. We understand that. We remember what happened a year ago and 3 days ago today. These things happen. And you look at things like that, it's like, would they go through all that trouble if they could have just released selectively certain files, even if they had to throw Bill Clinton under the bus? Of course they would. People want transparency. They should have them, but is there a possibility there's just no files, and maybe that's like the hoax that Trump is referencing here? If I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, it's possible. But you have the Democrats here, and their approval rating in a poll that is not super favorable to Donald Trump, and we understand has never really been, aside from late 2024, where I guess they pretended to get their act together for one reason or another so they could, stay relevant as a pollster. But when you look at it, it's like they have a 19% approval in this poll. Doesn't mean they're going to get 19% of the vote, but it's a problem ahead of the midterms. And they want to divide. They want to destroy. Trump hasn't messaged everything, in my opinion, in the best way. Some people will be very mad at me for saying that. I'm not saying that I don't see where he's coming from. I do, 100%. You have a lot of bad faith actors. They're going out there pushing this. And if every Democrat is voting in Congress, even performatively, to release the files, maybe there is, something where you could scratch your head and say, what's going on here? It doesn't really add up. Usually they would ignore this sort of thing. Now they're trying to play the angle of, Trump's guilty, let's go get him for this whole thing. I guess that's where Trump might be coming from. But regardless, they want to divide MAGA. I don't think Trump has messaged it perfectly, but still, regardless, I think that this whole let's just burn everything down, let's not vote, as some people will say, Like, is that going to release the files, or is it just going to make things worse for all of us? Because we understand what happens. People that boycott elections, it doesn't really pan out. And you have primaries that are important. We're going to be covering those as we get closer to 2026. But either way, I think transparency is important. I think we're more likely to get it with Trump in the White House than anybody else. And I think that people that want to just use this as an excuse to trash all the other great work Trump has done on the border, on the economy, and just the past 6 months in general, yeah, I think those people are being a bit short-sighted, but I do think that it's been handled poorly and that we should demand more. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.